Good morning and welcome back. I never know how to intro, so you just let's jump into it. We're back with modern day invest for a follow up of sorts. But if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to the last one, you won't need the context of the last one. But you can go back and watch if you're interested. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad glad I made the second round cut.
You did, yeah. Not too many people get to do the follow up episode, so it's
I'm honored.
nice.
I'm honored.
Well, the reason why we wanted to have you back on here is because we you kind of went you're kind of going crazy.
It's been a busy year for sure.
So last we spoke, I was very interested in your little ATM side hustle, I guess you could say, where you were buying ATMs and you were putting them in different businesses or whatever. And if my memory serves, we you were on like two getting your third or something like that. And I think like one of them was profitable, two of them were profitable, whatever. And now you've like basically doubled the operation or more.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. I have six now. I think at the time I had two working on the third. And honestly, I don't even know if I was profitable at the time. I can't remember. Um,
Yeah,
but
because
yeah,
I started the conversation because I during the shutdowns. I don't know what words YouTube doesn't like, but the 2019 era where we were locked in our homes for a bit. I had kind of looked into like I was looking into more into vending machines as kind of a side hustle. So when you were talking about successfully doing ATMs, I thought that was really interesting.
Mhm.
Um, and now, so I guess like yeah, it's been that was May of this year, and it is November of this year now. So in the last 6 months or whatever. Why don't you catch us up? How are you? How's the operation looking right now?
It's going pretty well. I have six ATMs currently. Honestly, I haven't really been trying to push anything more than that. All six of them are currently profitable. Definitely some doing better than others. I just kind of hit the point where if were to get any more, I definitely need some help.
Hmm.
And the ATM business isn't extremely lucrative. I mean, it's once you have it set up, it's pretty easy and it's really just filling with cash, doing some light maintenance. But it's not really worth it for me to hire anyone. So I'm kind of just comfortable with six. And honestly, I've been working on other projects. So I haven't really been pushing the envelope too much. But it's now that it's all the upfront work has been done, it's been done better than I honestly imagined.
Because if I remember, the first couple, it was like a barber shop was one of them.
Yeah, so my first one was a barbershop. Second one, I believe, was a bar. So I have two in dive bars. I think three in barbershops and one in a dispensary.
Okay, an interesting spread, but I guess all makes sense with dive bars and barber shops. I guess that's something I never. I see. I haven't got my haircut by a professional in close to 20 years. Um, last like basically when I turned I don't know 13, 14, my parents were like, you need to pay for your own haircuts, so I just didn't. And then the last time I cut my hair or got my haircut was like my girlfriend at the time did it for my grade 12 graduation when I was 17 or 18. And then I haven't cut it since. So
Oh
I just
wow,
kind of it's
looks good, though. Looks good.
thank you. Yeah. It just kind of like stopped growing. It's very curly as well, so it's like if it's wet, it's like down around my nipples, but then like normally it's kind of just around my shoulders. And then I
Mhm.
wear it up a lot because between my three businesses, two of them I'm working with like equipment and machines and stuff, and I don't want it like hanging and getting caught in something. And then the other one I'm serving food and drinks, so I basically wear it up a lot. But uh, yeah, so I haven't been to a barber shop in a while, but this is a cash heavy business, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so just as the world's going, I mean, everybody's kind of slowly starting to switch to credit cards or Square, or I think I've seen Clover a little bit. But obviously, there's no money to be made putting an ATM in a business that has cards. I mean, besides obviously the bars, but yeah, that's honestly kind of the problem is finding businesses,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people that start an ATM business that thinks it's super easy, because really once you get it signed, pen and paper, it's extremely easy, I'll be honest. But finding the business to work with you is what's hard, because you can't just put it in anywhere and expect to make money. You need to find a place in a digital world that's going to give you enough revenue to, one, pay off the machine, and two, just make it worth your time.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the struggle because especially like if it doesn't really cost the businesses anything, much or anything, why do they like they're just gonna leave it there forever basically.
Yeah.
Um I also like between the last time we talked and now I've heard a couple different stories. It sounds like your country is much more cash dependent than mine is. Like I was hearing some stats about like the amount of Americans that don't have bank accounts, and it's like staggering. Like it's like a
Really?
big yeah. It's like 50% of Americans don't have like regular bank accounts.
That can't be true.
I can fact check myself, but it was like I read the statistic and I thought it wasn't true. Um, and
50, I would guess, before you tell the stat, I'm gonna guess 8%.
because okay, current Federal Reserve estimate there's 55 million unbanked people in America as of 2018, which is the last time they did this study.
It's what, 350 million?
Yeah, so that's like what 15%, 20, yeah, 15 ish, 20%, which
Yeah, I'm not sure.
seems extremely high to me. 55 million people. Um, because that's like I forget where I was hearing it. Some sort of
16%. Yeah.
yeah, some sort of podcast or something, and then I was like going down a rabbit hole, and it's like that's why like check cashing, like people will go to Money Mart or whatever to get their check cashed because they don't have a bank, and then
Huh.
that's why like in your country, things like Cash App and Zelle exist because people send money between on like they need third party apps because they don't have like a banking system that they work with.
Well, so Cash App and Venmo came out before Zelle, and Zelle is what people use to send it in between bank accounts.
Yeah.
So Venmo was the first one I was introduced to, and that was mind-boggling at the time because they just got rid of cash for the most part. But I don't really think the U.S. is cash dependent. Um, I honestly thought it would be easier. Okay, let me rephrase that. I thought we, as a country, used cash more often
Okay.
until I ran an ATM business.
And now you're
And
like
I
seeing the
really
reality.
realized, I was like, holy crap, like the only reason people are using this ATM is because I asked, I talked with my business partner, or not partners, but who I work with, and I think maybe less than 10% of the transactions are walk-ins. Like somebody walking by, because we obviously have ATM signs
On
on
the
the
street.
windows.
Yeah.
People walk and say, "Hey, do you guys have an ATM? Can I use?" And then they'll point. But the majority, it's they just get their hair cut, and that's why they're using it.
Yeah. Cause like we like in Canada, we don't have Cash App or Venmo or anything. Like we have all the banks got together in like the early 2000s with Interact and just like made a system called Interact e-transfer where you can just send money for free between every bank account in Canada.
Yeah.
So I feel like especially since like 2019, um I feel like almost nobody I know carries cash anymore at all.
Oh, no one I know carries cash either.
It's interesting.
Um,
I wonder if we're just not in that group of people. Like there's subsects of people that we're personally just not introduced to that carry a lot of cash.
I I bet that if you went to like a very small town in the Southwest or like the Midwest of the U.S. where it's like the old timey, very small, and they're actually like they only accept cash. Like those, like they probably aren't maybe not have bank accounts, or they only that's why they have cash. But it's kind of at the point where like they just stop making the penny. When somebody hands me change back and it's 34 cents, I don't want. What the hell am I gonna do with 34 cents?
Yeah.
It's like I don't even want this.
Yeah, I heard that a long time ago. That's like, the rich mindset thing is just never take any coins from anybody. Just let them, you know. But like we don't even have like $1 bills here. Like the smallest bill we have is like a $5 bill.
Well, you guys have what, loonies, right?
Loonies and toonies, yeah, $1 and $2 coins. But we haven't had the penny in like 20 years.
Well, there's no. I can't believe it took this long to get rid
Yeah,
of the penny.
no kidding. I saw it would cost like 6 cents or something to make one.
I saw that stat. I'm like, no wonder the U.S. is in debt. Like, what are we doing?
It's so funny. Um, yeah, the whole cash dependent because like we do a lot of farmers markets for business number one, and I've seen like slowly less and less people using cash. Like I still, 5 years ago is probably I don't know less than 10%. Now it's like I think less than 2% of people are paying with cash. Like it's really just everyone has it on their phone, and you just tap and go and um not to say your business is obsolete because it's obviously working, but I'm just trying to like get to the root of the people that are actually taking out cash for their everyday use.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, eventually it will.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't know realistically how long I can. I mean, I don't think it'll be anytime soon, but I mean, all it takes is one of the businesses I work with to say, "Hey, we are going to start using Square,"
Yeah.
and then that's just one of my revenue streams.
So like are these businesses cash only or they just have the option?
Um, the majority of cash only. Two of the six we actually met with because they were paying a credit card processing fee. And so basically, I mean, we just have introductory meetings and try to figure out a way that we can have them go cash only. So basically, we told them that we would eat a little more of the percentage if they would go cash only. And then this is two of the barbershops actually made the switch. So over time, it will make more money, but we gave them a little bit more than they were making because of the processing fee, if that makes sense.
That's interesting. Like if an ATM salesman tried to come in and talk me out of taking credit cards, I'd be like, go away.
Oh,
So,
trust me, I've never worked in sales or like recruiting or anything like that. Well, we'll get to that point later, but the amount of cold, like I didn't have any, I should say, I never had any cold calling experience. I feel bad for people that have to cold call. Dude,
yeah,
I'll
me
walk
too.
into businesses and I'll just be, hey, like, my name's blah, blah, blah. I work for this company. This is what I do. And other people, I just be like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, man, it's Monday at 9 in the morning to have a great day.
Yeah. I see both sides of it because like I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to do a lot of like cold calling to restaurants and stuff when I was starting the winery to like get my wine stocked in them and stuff and like liquor stores and whatnot. And so like I empathize on that end, but then I also have people come into my offices between the three businesses like every day trying to sell me just, whatever. And it's like I tell my employees, I'm like, do not let anyone know I'm here ever. Like just, you know, take a card and get them out of the door as soon as you can. Because I don't want to buy your receipt paper or your window washing or whatever they're trying to sell.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. It's tough.
Yeah. But that's yeah, like I think like you're definitely um it's not like some of the people that I deal with that are like trying to get me, oh, switch your payment processor or like whatever. It's like you're not really interrupting their operation. Like you're doing a value add that doesn't interfere. You're not trying to sell the barber new scissors or something. Oh, dump your own old scissors supplier. Come with me. You're doing like a value add, which is like a little bit easier, I think, probably to do cold calls.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's more of if somebody gives me the benefit of the doubt and gives me 5 minutes, that's usually when I've made all of my sales. I shouldn't call them sales, but it's really just that not getting the time of day. And I get it, like having another business in your space, like it's nice not having to deal with anyone. Like I completely get that. But it's it's kind of interesting seeing like a business that I go in and talk to, and then we'll just say you make an extra grand if you're working with me a year, and then they say no, blah blah blah, and then I see them go out of business later. It's kind of like, well, I'm just another grand might have helped,
Told you
you know.
so.
But I don't know. It's I completely get it. I mean, because owning a business, I can see both sides, so I try not to take it personally. But
Yeah,
it can definitely wear on you, just getting a lot of rejection.
for sure. Yeah, it's I think people underestimate the mental toll that some of these sales jobs can have on you, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you could talk about any specifics. Like, I would love to know how much money you're making through these things.
Um. Let's see, I can pull it up.
Because we went through, if you're interested, the listeners, we went through how much these machines cost and stuff in the last episode that we did on the channel. So you can look more into that. But a basic refresher: how much approximately do these ATMs cost you upfront?
Uh, around the 24.5, so 2,450, and then through all six, I net about 1,300 a month.
So they're like ROI is like less than 2 months, not including maintenance and the cash you got to buy, obviously. Um,
Well, so 1,300 through all six of them.
oh, okay,
So it
okay,
takes about a year to get them all paid off.
yeah.
But some months are better than the others. I mean, honestly, the dispensary is really the one that carries them because, man, they do a lot of transactions.
And they're cash
Um,
only.
they are cash only, yes,
Yeah, that seems
because
very sketchy to me.
there's certain federal regulations. It's like you can do it, but there can't be a paper trail. I don't really know exactly how it works. I don't really care as long as I'm making money
Yep,
and it's
not
legal.
not my problem.
You know. Um, but yeah, I mean, I actually have to use a different processing company because the one I used wouldn't deal with dispensaries
Yeah,
for whatever regulations. So I had to find a complete new one. But yeah, that one really carries. It's kind of hard to find. The dispensaries, I mean, once they have an ATM processing company before they open their doors. And I'm not nearly big enough to. It's kind of like when a new 7-Eleven pops up, they have a contract already.
yeah,
So every single one of them is going to use a certain company. Who's I have six of them and I can't compete with that. But
yeah. Of course. Well, that makes sense for big companies, but um, yeah. Okay, so I mean, like, $1,300 in monthly gross revenue. I assume your overhead is almost nothing because you're not like. How does the deal work with? Do you have the same deal with all the stores? Like,
I meant 1,300 was profit.
oh, that's good then. I would
Well,
say.
yeah, but there's nothing really to it. I mean,
Yeah.
because basically I plug the machine in, I pay a few $100 to get it installed, because I have to get it professionally drilled into the ground, secured. I have to buy like a 30-foot Ethernet cable, 15-foot, I can't remember off the top of my head. And then I pay the business a percentage. I think it averages, I go all the way down to 10% to, I think I'm paying, again, this is all off my head, I think up to 30 for the dispensary. I would have to look. Honestly, I haven't really thought about it in a while. And then I pay 25 cents off each transaction for the maintenance plan. So if anything ever happens, it's completely covered. But I don't have any overhead
Yeah.
besides the initial cost of the ATM.
Yeah. Do you value, not value, but are you calculating your like hours spent at all?
No, because honestly, I don't. So at the start, it was a lot of work when I was first. I mean, it was the first business I've ever owned. So I was trying to learn a lot. I was prospecting a lot. I was doing all these things. But once a contract's signed, I mean, I go in once a month with a little, like electronics, keyboard dusting air gun, and I just spray everything down, vacuum all the dust out. I wipe it down, and then if it needs to be stocked with cash, I stock with cash, and that's it.
And then about
So at first it was a terrible return. Spending a lot of money for nothing. But now I spend maybe 15 minutes on a machine once a month, and I'm netting what is 1,300 divided by six? What, $200 and change?
yeah, ish. Um, so that's the only you only have to fill it up like once a month.
Well, it depends on which machine.
Of
I mean,
course.
so you can keep up to 20 grand in there. I keep a little less just in case something happened. I don't have 120K lying
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
Obviously, it's like the dispensary, I keep stocked with a lot more cash than like a barbershop or the bar, just because it's not getting as many transactions. And honestly, that's kind of why I'm profitable, is because the dispensary has made the other ones profitable. Technically, if you looked at it, it would still be working itself into profitability, just because it takes about a year to get profitable, with I think average around 40 transactions a month, depending on where the location is. I mean, sometimes, because I'm in a touristy area, sometimes I'll do 100, sometimes I'll do 25. So it's just kind of a numbers game.
yeah, and that makes sense that it's seasonal and depends on who's using it and what's going on at the time and etc.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's good. I mean, like I didn't realize how little work I guess it was because like if you're thinking like a vending machine, you have stuff expiring and how many bags of chips do you have in there? 20, like I don't know, in a line or whatever. Like it feels like that's a lot more than once a month probably restocking. Um, so even if you're calculating your time, like I usually in my head I like to calculate my time at about $100 an hour. Because that's approximately the amount of profit that I can make doing any task at any business. So
Mm-hmm.
in my head, I'm like, if I'm not making at least $100 an hour doing something, then it's probably not worth me doing. Like it's worth me paying an employee to do. And so even if you're calculating, $100 an hour, 15 minutes a machine, that's only $200 a month of labor um, cost, which still you're not a lot compared to your net profit there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. Like so that this is about nice level you said, and if you get any bigger then you probably need help.
Yeah. I mean, it's really kind of what you said with $100 an hour. It's the prospecting that's hard. So
Right.
I'm set up. I am making a decent amount of cash flow. I'm really not putting a ton of effort in. But the second that you want to go keep prospecting is when you're putting a lot of effort, a lot of time in, hoping that you'll get another one. And I've kind of been shifting. I mean, we follow each other on Twitter. I have the staffing business as well,
Yeah.
which makes astronomically more than my ATMs. So I'm kind of at the point where I like the cash flow, but I kind of have a bigger venture. I don't necessarily want to sell it just because why would I unless I get a good offer? Um, and the issues with ATMs too is you have to see, so they sign a contract for, a certain amount of time, but really your business isn't worth anything if they haven't re-signed that contract. So pretty much I have most of I mean, they stagger obviously. But so like I have one coming up and that ends at the end of December. So they have 30 days to let me know, and then it re-signs for an entire year. And then if they want to cancel for whatever time, they owe me $200 times however many months are left on the contract. But is my company worth more at certain times than others? Absolutely. Because if I have 6 contracts and they have 3.5 years of time left compared to 6 years, how do you really value the company?
Yeah.
So that's kind of just something I've also been thinking about. But
Yeah.
it's also less than a year that I've been doing this, so I'm not really looking to sell.
Yeah, yeah. And like, yeah, as someone who values small businesses a lot when I'm looking into maybe new businesses to buy, you're always looking into like historic trends, and you just don't have enough data right now to make an accurate valuation of the business. I wouldn't recommend anyone try to sell their business sooner than 5 years in operation. Like, there's just not enough data to know if the business is successful or not. Um, and then as well, there like something I would seriously consider as a buyer is like what is the lifespan of cash as a viable business, right? Because even
Yeah,
like
there's
I don't like making investments in like oil companies right now because I'm like, I don't know, in 50 years we might not have a huge need for oil. Never mind, like I think cash is going out way before oil does.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's something. It's an interesting, but it's like make a hay while the sun shines kind of thing, right? Where you can get some cash out of it, and as long as those machines are paid for, if they become obsolete, it's they put in their work and they generated enough money for you.
Yeah. The segue. That's what drives me crazy about every single video on Twitter is like, oh, buy a laundromat. And I'm like, dude, 3 years ago during COVID, you literally couldn't, there was a coin shortage. You couldn't get coins.
That
Like people would have, like my friends would have their dryers and washers and they would hit me up like, do you have any quarters, man? Like I need to do my laundry. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Like you can't go to the bank and get them. So it reminded me of these things that might go obsolete,
yeah,
unless you're having the credit card payments. But anyways, that was a
surely
rant segue. But
surely you can use your credit card on a washing machine nowadays. That's got to be a thing.
the new ones,
Yeah,
not the old ones.
yeah. Okay, well that's here we go. We're putting an ATM in a laundromat.
And a little one of those like well, arcades, the coin things.
Yeah, I have a in my phone. I have a list of businesses that I want to start, and then I have two. Here, I'll show you. I have two things called business ideas, and then I have another folder called not dumb business ideas because one of them's kind of dumb. But one of the ideas that I have um, is I think we should like make a laundromat but then like put a bar inside of it.
So while they're waiting for their laundry, they can get a drink.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah, depending on where you are, because there tends to be a lot of homeless hanging out around a laundromat.
They can
So
have
one,
they can have a drink.
I'm not
Um,
scaring people off, but yeah,
that's one of the better ideas on this list.
that's actually that would be a fun place to get a couple drinks at.
That's what I'm saying. And you have to stay there for like an hour anyway, right? You're not allowed to like leave, I guess, or like if you leave, someone might steal your stuff. So like, you
Yeah,
gotta
I've
be
never
sitting
been
there.
to a public one, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to.
Yeah, you're probably hanging
Yeah,
out there for an hour anyway.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. Something to think about. It's a collaboration. We just need to find someone with a laundry company, and then we can do laundromat, ATM, bar.
Cash only bar with our ATM
Yeah,
card.
there you go. Cash only, maybe. Um, yeah, I guess like so. I'll segue again. That you said the hardest part of the ATM business, building it at least, is not having a lot of free time to do like the prospecting and whatnot. But you have a lot more free time as of this week.
I do.
Do
So
you
that's
want?
definitely something I've been thinking about.
Yeah, so you can tell your story if you like.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, so I'm a scientist for a pharmaceutical company. I got laid off last week. Um, I kind of knew for a while, just because they have been doing, I think so. It was my fifth round of layoffs was last week, so I kind of knew it was eventually going to happen. I wasn't nearly the only one. So I'm kind of at the crossroads of what do I want to do moving forward. So obviously, I have a couple different income streams. I own a staffing business, an ATM business. I bartend occasionally. Um, yeah, honestly, it's kind of weird. You kind of follow the standard plan of, you go to college, you get a job, you do just the classic route, and then you have other options. And now I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe it is time to just work for myself and see how it goes for a while. I could definitely pay for um, my expenses and things like that, but it's kind of, my main hobby is investing. I mean, my Twitter account is literally modern day investing, and that's just what I enjoy doing. Um, so I just need to make sure that I can still be doing what I want with my extra income, you know, because my goal has never been to scrape by. It's always been to get better and better and better every single day. Um, so, and there's two ways to look at that, obviously, because if I go work another 9 to 5, I'm having some more income, but I could also be getting astronomically more by just working for myself and giving it an actual 100% of my time. So it literally happened a few days ago, so I'm still trying to digest. But I think I'm leaning towards working for myself.
Because how long had you been working there, or in that field at least?
So in the field, I think maybe 6, 7 years.
Okay. And how can
Um,
you, if you don't have to say, but like your age ish?
Mid 20s.
Okay. Um, so yeah, basically your entire adult life, more or less. If you presume you get out of college around 22 ish, and then work somewhere for 6, 7 years. Yeah, like so. I guess like from my experience, like I'm not the typical case. I think where like I started my first business at 18 and I've never had a job as an adult. Um, that's not what the normal people do, or that's not necessarily what I recommend people do at all. But the biggest struggle I think with entrepreneurship is like, and the reason why people work jobs obviously while they have a business on the side is because they can't make enough money from their business to live, right, to pay their bills, so they need the job. But if you're already there with the between your two businesses there, it's like you've already done the hard part. You've like become made a profitable business.
Mhm.
So I don't tell anyone how to live their life, but if you ask me for advice, I'd probably say it is about time, because that first struggle of becoming, making, what do they say, the use your 9 to 5 to fund the 5 to 9 to then replace the 9 to 5,
It
um,
sounds right.
is you're like, you've basically done that. Like you've created enough income streams um, that you don't need the job necessarily.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you a question. Obviously, it's a little different now because you have way more than me going on. I mean, but it's kind of my issue is I don't. So some weeks I have way too much work. I just like I can't get everything done, and I'm just working as much as I physically can, barely like sleeping very little. And there's some weeks that just magically I have some free time every day, and that's kind of why I like having the 9 to 5 and even bartending is if I don't have a super busy day, I can do something productive, make a little more money, which allows me to onboard another employee, which or will allow me to buy another ATM, things like that. So my question is, what do you maybe a couple of years ago, but what do you necessarily fill your time with if, like, let's say you're working at the bar and it's a slow day, it's raining, like how do you fill your time and how do you be productive?
Yeah, I guess like I've had to definitely learn how to, especially now that I have like three businesses, I've had to learn how to juggle and just always be doing different things. But yeah, there's a lot of times where it's I have a downtime at the bar, so I'll whip out the laptop and do clerical stuff or whatever. But I'm in a situation where there's always work to be done. Like there's never gonna be a part where I have like nothing to do. Um, there's just always something to be doing, and if there's not, it's like you can be doing marketing, you can be doing whatever, right? But there's always clerical stuff to be done. Um, I guess like I'm probably at the opposite point where it's like I have no downtime ever, and I'm like trying to create more downtime so I can just like sit and stare at a wall would be nice. Um, but I don't know. I just kind of like I do what needs to be done, and you just kind of find it along. You find a rhythm along the way, I think, and it because it depends on the seasonality of your business. Like the winery business number one, as I affectionately call them, is very summer loaded with the work, right? Like between because we have a farm and everything, so it's like that months leading up to harvest, and harvest itself obviously is go 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 go, and then my Q1 every year, January through February through March, is exceedingly slow for that business. Um, so I just kind of take it day by day. I really don't like. I don't have like a. Maybe I should have like a plan of like, okay, I need to get this done in a week, but I just kind of like go where I need to and do what I need to get done. And as long as it gets done and the money's still coming in and the business is still churning along, then it's like I feel more or less accomplished. But
Yeah,
there's always more to be done, I think.
that's fair.
Do you like how much of the staffing company, like, are you solo there?
Meaning, bit like, do I have business partners or do I have employees?
Either way.
So I used to have two business partners. I bought one out, so now I own 67 rounded 67% of it. So I have one partner. We have um, two employees, one, or I should say three, two full time, one part time. Um, and then obviously it's a staffing company, so I don't really count the the contractors as employees. I mean, they are, but they're not full time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, is that like when you're talking about debating getting another job or going full time, is like that the business that you want to dive full into?
Yeah, it's what I'm generally interested in, what I like doing. Um, it's just it's a little so it's all online, So it was very nice when things were I kind of knew I was getting laid off, right? Things were ramping down. I was working from home more. I was working at for my company and for at my 9 to 5 simultaneously. So if I was in a meeting and I would just turn my camera off and my mic, obviously, and I was working for an hour on my business. But it was extremely stressful. I mean, because I was just trying to manage, I'd be on site and I had someone calling me and I had to talk to, or, there's always fires to put out.
Yeah.
But so I didn't really, I was kind of thinking, oh, should I get a remote job in my field and then just continue to do that? Because obviously everything's cyclical. Sometimes I will have 20 employees that I'm taking care of, and then 5, their contracts end. And then I'll get 10 more, and then 6 contract end, so it's always comes and goes.
Yeah.
I think I just need to give it a try. I mean, you can always get another 9 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's always a Wendy's you can work at, if you need to, if you need to make the money. But like, yeah, I don't know, like, cause like that, I don't know the particulars of that business, obviously, but like any business for the most part, if you put in more time, you'll grow the business more, right? Like that's just all that it is what it is, right? It's an easy math there. Um, So yeah, I mean, like you probably already know my opinion. It should. I think we need more entrepreneurs, and it
Well,
sounds like it's
let me
working.
Let me ask you another question then.
Yeah.
So another thing I've been thinking about is because basically my 9 to 5 has been able to pay for growing the business.
Hmm.
Everything is covered from my 9 to 5 and my expenses, and so the money that I generate from my businesses goes back 100% goes back into the business. I mean, now I have a little bit of debt, so that's getting paid down, blah blah blah. But if I'm pulling some money out of my businesses, I shouldn't say pulling out, but some of the profit is going towards my expenses. Is it hurting the company long term, or is it benefiting because I'm spending more time on it?
That is, I think, a debate that every entrepreneur has with themselves at some point. I did a thread one time on Twitter about how my business partner and I, come to the conclusion of how much we pay ourselves every month. And it's usually because I know there's a lot of I don't know if you ever read the book. What is it called? It's something along the lines of pay yourself first. There's like an ethos about that, especially I find with like younger entrepreneurs that like that's you pay yourself first, then everyone else gets paid, and then that makes you want to grow the business more or whatever. I've always been like come from business from a scarcity mindset, I guess. Like I was I was homeless before the business got rolling, and I've just never had a lot of money. Like we just really had to scrap for every dollar that this business made. So I never minded really if I didn't make a lot of money personally from the business because this is all I care about is building the businesses. So usually it's like employees are number one, renters number two, suppliers that were more than 90 days overdue with, then name a thing, then supplies, then inventory, then whatever. And there's kind of if there's money left over for this, then go to this. And if there's money left over for this, then go to this, right? And then eventually you get down to us, and it's like, okay, well, if there's money left over this month, then we can take a little bit of a salary or whatever. But historically, like I think like my business partner and I have had this conversation, a long time ago, where it's like, this is about the amount of money that we need to make to live, pretty comfortable lives. Which is it's obscenely low for most people. When I tell people, I'm like, yeah, all I ever needed was 20K a year to live very comfortably. People are like, huh? But like about $2,000 a month is what I need to take home after taxes to pay off all my expenses and more and live very comfortably. Right now, since buying the third business, we have to reduce salary a little bit just to kind of pay everything off. But I make about, I don't know, $1,600 last month, and then, which is very low, obviously, like much below the poverty line in this country. But that was kind of like we sat down, we're like, okay, this is how much we're comfortable living on, so let's cap our salaries there, and then everything else just gets put into the business.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're thinking about a full-time employee, minimum wage is what, 3,000, 4,000 bucks, whatever. Like, you're getting a full-time employee and me, a more than full-time employee, for $2,000 a month. Like that's it's a pretty good
Yeah.
deal from a business POV. Like, take yourself out of the equation. If your business could pay an employee to work 100 hours a week for $2,000 a month or whatever you're taking, I don't think that's hurting the business necessarily.
Yeah.
Because the business is going to have costs no matter who does the labor, whether it's you or somebody else. So, and you have to live. That's the thing about it. Like, you can only not take a salary for your business for so long. You have bills to pay. And I won't get into the whole, like, some people I think are, some entrepreneurs I meet, I think, are too entitled. They're like, I deserve $100,000 a year from this business, and it's like, well, you don't deserve anything. It's a business, and how dare you think you need all this money from the business before it's even successful yet. But the fact of the matter is, you do have bills to pay, and so do I, and so we do need to take something from the business. But it is a balancing act because there's like over the last 10 years I've been an entrepreneur. Um, there's been months and periods of more than 1 month where we couldn't take any money, um, because that's just it is what it is. Like some during the pandemic, and then again when we did a big renovation project, there was periods where we just there was no money left over at the end of the month for us, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
And so it's a unfortunate conversation that you have to have where it's like we're not getting paid this month. But and then that's like if you've seen me post about the personal debt I'm in, that all have stemmed from those kind of periods where I was just like, okay, well, rent's going on a credit card then.
Yeah.
So for a while there in my life, I was kind of spiraling in the wrong direction. But now we're kind of, I mean, knock on wood, things, anything can happen, but it feels like I'm kind of over the hump and I've been paying down debt and going in the right direction, which is good. But at the end of the day, it's like my business for me, especially like all three of them, obviously, but especially the one that I started from nothing and is a startup, um, is like I care about in the way that like if you only had money to feed one person, you would feed your child besides you. I kind of
Hmm.
feel without being dramatic. Like I kind of feel like that with the business where it's like I've built this from nothing, and if it needs my salary that month to keep going, then I'll be fine, and it can I want to feed my child rather than feed
I
myself.
like that analogy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
Um, yeah, I don't know. So like every entrepreneur is different for sure. You have to like figure out what works for you and what your floor is, and then also like what your um it's not even what you think your time is worth, but like just what you want to get out of what you're putting in. Because like for me, just being able to do what I do full time is a reward in and of itself. Like I don't have to make a lot of money because I don't have to go work a job. Like just working for myself is payment for doing what I'm doing.
No, I completely understand.
But I don't I also wouldn't judge people for having the opposite mentality where it's like, well, I want more money, so I'm going to work a job, um, because it's just the value change, right? The money is more important than name a thing, the time freedom or the whatever it is that people get out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, yeah, that was helpful.
good. I hope so. Sometimes my incoherent ramblings are non-helpful, but
So how does that? Because I know you like investing as well. I mean, outside of just your business. So how does that kind of factor in with? I mean, obviously, the majority of your money is going towards your business, which I mean probably nets more than it would just investing. But how do you kind of find time or the extra money to also invest?
yeah, I mean, like I kind of just I do that on like the if there's I have the business budget and we figure out how much money that we can my business partner and I can take as salaries, then you obviously have your personal budget. And a part of that personal budget I just, put towards investing. Um right now I've cut it down basically to nothing. I'm doing about 25 bucks a week is what I'm investing into my brokerage. And that's just like, you know, um that's just to kind of keep in the habit of it and keep the snowball rolling in one direction.
Yeah.
If I do the math, it's like it would probably make more sense to just pay off my debt and not and then invest. But I'm keeping it rolling. Um, but the amount of money, like I've the last just over a year ago, I kind of was like something in my head where I'm just like, you know what, I'm getting out of personal debt. Like I'm having a lot of trouble right now with lenders, like with business lenders. Like I'm trying to get a line of credit for business number 3 that I bought in March, and it's profiting tens of thousands of dollars a month. And the bank won't give me a line of credit because my personal credit score is too low.
Okay.
Um, which is, whatever. But it's like I have a $5,000 credit card for it that I have to cycle like 8 times a month. Like I have to pay it, because I'm making $20,000 purchases on it, and it's a $5,000 limit, so I have to like pay 15,000 extra dollars to get it like the balance low, so I can like pay it back
Yeah.
up. And I'm like, guys, can I just have a higher limit? Like you see how much money I'm cycling just because I buy a lot of supplies
Yeah.
for the companies, and they're just like no, they're like, well, come back when you're showing a profit. So I come back when I'm showing a profit, and they're like, well, no, now come back when your personal credit score is higher. And it's like I feel like they just keep moving the goalpost on me.
Yeah.
So
You've tried the other credit card companies,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah, man. I like it's yeah, yeah, and like I do have a lot of business debt. Like we're talking over $500,000 between all three businesses, but it's like my debt servicing, like the amount of money we make to the amount of service. Like I don't know, I'm not a credit risk in my opinion, but I guess they think I do. But anyway, but what they keep telling me is like, oh, you're personal, and I'm like, why is this corporation, this 115-year-old company that I own, tied to my personal credit score? Like that doesn't make any sense to me when we've been profiting for decades and decades, and I can show like whatever. Um, but so about a year and a half ago, I was just like, I'm getting out of personal debt. I'm just like, I don't care anymore. So I stopped um, my spending pretty dramatically, and then I stopped all the extra money that was going towards investing as well. And I'm just like grinding the personal credit down. But I've paid off like $20,000 this year in 2025 of personal debt. Um, so I'm making good progress.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, and then in theory, all that extra money that went towards that could go towards investing, and probably will, because I don't really suffer from lifestyle inflation much, where
Yeah.
I want to go buy a jet ski and stuff. Like I'm pretty happy, some fancier restaurants, and I think like I posted like when I get out of debt, I want a new mattress, a new suit, and a new watch. That's like the only splurging I want to do. And
Definitely a mattress. That's important.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's I guess like that's a talk you have to have with your business partner, but I think also a talk you just like have to have with yourself is like how much money is worth it out of the business, and then you have to kind of think like, okay, like how many dollars, every dollar that I take out of the business to pay my bills or to even invest in the markets, like I know for a fact that every dollar that my small businesses are spending, I can make $80 on $1. And
Mhm.
when you spend $1 in the market, you're making $8. Well, whatever, like 8% or whatever. But I can make 500% at a small business, right? Like your margins of running your own business are always going to be the bet, like you know aside from buying Dogecoin at 1/20th of a cent, like you're not getting much better returns than a small business for sure.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
I think like your business's money is probably better spent um in the business.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I've definitely toned down my investing just because I have something better going on. I mean, really, that's what it is.
Well, and it is investing, right? Like I tell people that I kind of make a distinction between my public portfolio and my private portfolio. Like just because you own 67% of a company doesn't mean you're not in, like, you own a company. Like just like Warren Buffett owns 100% of, it's not like we're calling Warren Buffett and Greg Abel owners and like of Dairy Queen, right? We're calling them investors, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's what stocks are. They're little pieces of businesses.
yeah, exactly. So the fact that you own, a bigger part of a company, you're still invested. Like just because it's a private company, and just because you started it, you're not. That
Yeah,
doesn't make you not an investor in it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No.
you're just a majority shareholder. You're an investor. You have a board seat, and and you just happen to also take the calls in the middle of the day.
I just
um,
happen to all be the secretary.
yeah, it just happened. I don't know, but I don't think that like you still own a company, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so I like a long time ago I made the decision. It's like okay, my money is better spent growing the business.
Yeah.
Um,
Fair enough.
and then I personally would just do that until you get to a point where um you kind of see wait there's always going to be a point where it's like diminishing returns, I think, with every business where it's like just pouring money on a problem doesn't help anymore.
Mm.
um and then in theory the business has grown so much that you can take more salary, right? Like if you're going to take, let's just say your business is doing, you're profiting whatever it is, $100,000 a year before your salary, and then you take $50,000 as a salary, you're paying out 50% of your company's profits. But if you're profiting $1 million and you're still taking that $50,000 salary, then you're only paying like 1% of your company's profits or whatever, right? Or 5%, whatever, whatever the math is.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
gotcha.
so that's like, I always tell I think you could grow your companies out of like most of your problems.
Yeah.
Because now $50,000, we wouldn't be having this debate, whether it's like, should I pay myself the money or should I keep it in the business? If it was like 1% of your free cash flow, like who cares,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
So yeah, I don't know, but it is an interesting. Because how long have you been doing the staffing stuff?
Um, a little over a year. I just honestly, it took so long to get. Oh, I should say 2 years, but the first the first go at it didn't really work out. I didn't really know what I was doing. And then the second time it stuck. It just took. Honestly, it takes so much more time to get. So my ATM business is really not much to it.
Yeah,
Start an LLC and you start buying ATMs. Staffing company has a ton of regulations. You have to get workers' comp. You have to get a lot of things. So it took a while to get established, get a working master service agreement with a couple clients. Um, but yeah, they're relatively both pretty new. But yeah,
because like I think like you're at the point where it's like you've only been doing the businesses for like 2 years and 1 year, um, and you're already in a point where you could potentially live off the businesses. I think that's incredible. Like I think there's a lot
yeah,
of people I know that have been doing a business for 20 years as a side thing and they still don't make enough money to pay their bills. So I think that's like you're doing extremely well.
yeah. It's been awesome. Really, it helped that I have some pretty good business partners. I mean, thankfully, the guy that I bought his shares, he is kind of put the majority of the money into the business. He didn't do anything for the business. He just was basically we get 33% and change for. I think of him like an angel investor, and he didn't really want to be a part of it. It was kind of like it was kind of just like an upfront loan, and he really helped out because I didn't have the capital. So pretty much every employee that I onboard cost me around 50 grand, just because I have to pay. We're on a net 30, so I have to pay. They're making probably 25 to 20 grand biweekly, so I have to eat the money for an entire month, and I didn't have the money to do that.
Yeah.
So eventually, once we started making a little more money, and then he kind of wanted some of that back. He said, "Listen, I'm just gonna pull out a loan and pay you what I can up front, and then I'm just gonna go for it." So it's kind of where we're at.
Well, that's good. I think it's a smart and relatively safe way to play it as well. Because then if it had failed in the first year or whatever, then it's like you wouldn't have all this bank loans and stuff that you're personally guaranteeing that you have to pay off or whatever. So it's like, that's why people like angel investors or whatever, because it doesn't drain the business of cash flow, right? Like it helps you spend more on growing it. And it's funny, like, because I was like, while you were talking about that, I was kind of comparing it to my like the wine business where I have to age my inventory for a while before I can sell it. So I'm like spending a lot of money and then I gotta wait, 2 years before I can
Mhm.
sell it. So it was just like I was humorous to me for a second, like thinking about your staffing employees as like inventory. But like I guess like you're investing 20 grand in inventory before you get a return on it, but they're just humans is kind of entertaining.
Yeah, well, I mean, because there's a lot that goes with it. I mean, you got to give them vehicles. You got to pay expenses. Because we send them out on. So basically, we're in the renewable energy business. So they'll go out to solar sites, construction sites, data centers. So they get, they're moving. Got to pay them per diem. Got to vehicles. They got to pay for their gas, all that stuff. So I have to eat it until I finally get the invoice back. And obviously, I'm making a premium on top of that. But it really is, yeah, inventory, like you're saying. You got to spend money to make money.
Yeah, yeah, which is that's with any business, obviously, and yeah, I don't know. I would like at least, especially if you're not hurting for money, I would at least try it out, see how you like it, kind of thing. And also, like, it seems like you have this the bartending gig is kind of like you can work when you want, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's not even, it doesn't even scratch the surface of making a dent, because we're working with pretty large numbers owning a business. It's kind of more just it helps pay the bills. Um, but and it's fun, but it's kind of nice just having, if I can come home from a shift with a couple $100 in tips, because you really don't make much as a bartender besides tips.
Yeah,
And then I can just pay, I can buy groceries. I can put that cash strictly to buying gas for my car, or, just strictly just for that I don't have to worry about. It's pretty nice. So I'm not on the schedule or anything, but if I ever see somebody give up shifts and I'm like, you know what, I don't have any meetings that day. I can have my employees work for me, whatever, during this time. It can be nice. It's almost a break because it's just really just talking to people, and it's not having to think about the business for a couple hours.
yeah, and that's like kind of an ideal situation as an entrepreneur because it's like shit comes up sometimes. So being able to just work when you have free time or whatever is good. But I think
Yeah.
like a lot of people kind of underestimate just the sheer amount of time like a 40-hour 9 to 5 looks like, because it's not just the time that you're at the job, right? Like even if you're working from home, like there's commuting and there's time thinking about work and de-stressing from work and et cetera, et cetera. It's like, you're spending a lot of hours in a day around the job. And I think like if you now even took half that time and just like locked in and did like deep work on your businesses every single day rather than having to like take a huge break to go work your 9 to 5, or in the case when you were saying like working from home and you had it on one screen and have the call on the other screen or whatever, you're still dividing your time between the business and the
Yeah.
job, right? So I think like you might be surprised with how much you can grow the business if you just like lock in on it.
100%. I I I honestly, the past year or two has completely changed my way of thinking. I never really, I've always been interested in being an entrepreneur, like it just naturally gifted with kind of some of the attributes, but I never really knew it was possible until I just said, screw it, like let's just give it a shot. And but honestly, I think the problem that it was my thinking too, and kind of people's thinking this entire time, is that it has to be one or the other.
Hmm.
It really doesn't. Like I was a scientist that works in lab. I just find time when I come, like it can suck. Like I come home and I work 3 4 hours every single day on trying to start a business. If I'm on a Zoom call with my company, I worked on trying to start a business. The weekend I worked. It definitely is time, but there's so much more time during your 9 to 5 where you're working, but you're not actually working.
Yeah.
Every single, I look around at my coworkers and we're in a meeting. We don't necessarily need to be, could have been an email.
Yeah.
They're on Facebook.
Yeah.
They're texting. If you were just actually managing your time, you could try something.
Yeah. And I think that's like what because you don't care, right, at your job. Like you're just doing enough not to get fired, and especially with big companies, it's like, like you said, this could have been an email kind of meetings where no one wants to be there. But when you're working for yourself, it's almost like you're not even feeling guilty when you're not working. It's like you just don't want to. Like at least I feel like I'm so motivated a lot of the time that I'm working on my business, that I want to do it and not scroll on Facebook, right?
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah. So it's like I don't know. I kind of like, if you would ask me like when I was 20, that was like, if entrepreneurs asked me for advice, I'd be like, quit your job right now. Go go all in, go work 100 hours a week. Like you're not going to succeed unless you go all in. And that's just cuz what I did. But now I've like gotten older and I have a more nuanced, I think, appreciation for it, where I think you're doing it and you did it the exactly right way, where you worked a job and then used the money and motivation or whatever to start side projects. And now I think a lot of people that do that kind of wait for the side project to make more money than the job and then they quit kind of thing. But you're, whatever you call it, divine intervention or universe or synchronicity or whatever, like you've kind of been provided here with an opportunity where you're getting laid off from a job and you have two businesses that could benefit from you working more. It's, you're kind of here in an opportunity, like, because a lot of people get laid off and they don't have they don't have a business that's making money right there, right? Like you'd have to work for a year on your business. If you get laid off, you're like, you know what? I'm going to start a business instead of finding another job. You might have to work for a year before you see any money, but you've like
Yeah.
already done the grunt work of setting this up. So it's like I feel like you have the perfect opportunity here.
Yeah. I will say though, I think it's never been more dangerous to have one source of income ever. I mean, you look at, I don't mean to be gloom and doom, but you're looking at AI coming. If you have one source of income and you end up getting laid off, hopefully not. I mean, I really hope nobody does, but it's happening. And if you are in a field that's kind of, I shouldn't say obsolete, but maybe getting replaced. There's other reasons to get laid off from just because of AI, obviously. But if you can't find another job, what's the harm of just putting a tiny bit of money into trying something now? It's funny too because I've never been more tired yet more energized in my life than working on something that I genuinely care about. Because it sucks going to work every day and there's I always have this debate with people. They're like, oh, well, if you're an A+ employee, you're going to get promoted, you're going to get the 3% raise, blah blah blah. And I so was like, okay, bet, and I stopped, and I'm a B employee now, and I got promoted. I made more money. I just put in, instead of 20 hours a week more into my company, I put it into my business, and I still got. I mean, I got laid off eventually, but I made it through 5 rounds. But me and 5 other thousand people. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling, but I'm just saying for anyone listening, like, you just go for it, because at the end of the day, you can walk into a bar and get a job. You can walk into, you never know if you're going to get laid off. You never know if a business won't work, but you can't really control what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, and all you can do is give yourselves the tools, the best tools possible to deal with the stuff that comes up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very optimistic. It's funny that you started the sentence by saying, "Well, I don't want to be the doom guy," and then it like actually ended up being really positive. But I think that's a good positive note to kind of end on. We're coming up on hour 10 here. Um, we didn't talk a lot about the ATMs, but we talked a lot about entrepreneurship in general. But
Yeah.
it's good. It feels like the ATM business it actually is the passive income that the gurus were promising. Who would have known?
If you can get it set up, yeah, it's not the hey, I have an ATM, let's make thousands of dollars. But let me put it in your business. That's just not that's the only part that's not right.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, you made it work. I'm happy for you there.
Yeah, appreciate it.
No problem. Well, it'll be very nice and interesting to see where you take the businesses from here. I hope you at least give it a college try, as they say, because as a entrepreneur, obviously myself, there's a it's like the what is it the all soldiers, you have you have a automatic respect for other soldiers because you know what they've been through, kind of thing. I feel like that how we are with entrepreneurship. It's like we've all been in the trenches, so it's like we know what it is. So it's
Yeah, it definitely is a respect. I mean, I respect a lot. I mean, you work more than probably anyone I know. So it'll be interesting if we ever do another follow up, how many businesses we'll be owning on the next one.
both of us we're just both buying a bunch. Yeah, I don't know. I have nothing else on the super close horizon, although I do have three secret projects in the works of things I'm working on, but I always kind of keep my eyes open for opportunity. But at this point, I'm just trying to like get a bigger foundation under me. I'm trying to pay off some debt between all three businesses, kind of get the cash flow going, and then work on expanding more. But yeah, it'll be funny if we're like 20-year follow up, and we're like, okay, business 116 between the two of us.
Oh, if we had that many businesses, we would be doing it in a penthouse in Vegas or something.
No, I'd still be broke. I'd still be making $1,800 a month.
You'd be like, but listen, I can buy another company.
What if
Another one.
yeah? How many more
Maybe
ATMs
85
can I
years
buy?
old.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. My AI staffing company. We just hire AI humanoid robots.
Oh man.
Okay, well, modern day invest on Twitter, right? That's
Yep.
what the at is. Give them a follow. We have some good banter over there, some good threads, good back and forth. I think the whole FinX community, I think especially with the algorithm recently, I think has been really good. We're all learning a lot over there, and it allows conversations like this to even take place because it lets people like us to meet and from across the continent from each other. Uh, Drunk Dividends is the at that I am called. My name is Willows, but Drunk Dividends my business and investing brand. So Drunk Dividends on X and Instagram, and then Vote Willows, VOTEWILLOWS on everything else: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Twitter, etc., YouTube, wherever, Spotify. You can find us. Thanks for coming on and chatting, and I'm sure we will chat again soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Okay, good luck on your entrepreneurships, and welcome to the full time.
Likewise, thank you.
Cheers.